podcasts is over at wildgamesproductions.com and d20radio.com.
Well, this is Steve Winter, and you're listening to THACO's Hammer.
First there was the original.
I thought it might be nice for kids. Keep them off the street, you know.
Then the basic.
This is a simple game.
Then the first version of the advanced.
Good, clean, wholesome fun.
Now the hammer comes down. Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn second edition AD&D podcast ever.
Hi, folks. THACO's Hammer, your 2E guys. I'm DM Glen. I'm here with DM Brian.
Hello, good evening, afternoon, wherever you are.
Yeah, and DM Full-On Gamer.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. Redheaded stepchild is in the house.
Right on, right on. Yeah, we're just full of 2E goodness this time. Hope everybody's doing all right. And let's go ahead and hit some crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque, Louie's Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits.
Hits and crits. Was that a little too smooth and smarmy?
No, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly
fine.
You're good.
So, who wants to go first? I'll go first. What have I been doing gaming? Well, not too much on the D&D front, but I did finally get my Champions books, and I want to thank Scadley out there for sending them to me. I know we had a lot of trouble with the post office on that, but I finally got the books, and my grandsons are going to be happy making superheroes.
Yes.
So will I, and I will be teaching them math along the way. So
yes. They'll be able to do high school algebra by the time they're 10.
Not a bad thing, Brian.
No, it's not a bad thing.
It's not true, but it's still not a bad thing.
No, I'm just teasing you, Glenn.
No, I know. All of a sudden, I'm homeschooling. I don't get it. So what have you been up to, Brian?
Oh, well, the last week I've basically had to take apart my living room and my bedroom in order for the complex to put in new carpeting. That also meant taking out all of my RPG stuff from my bookcase, and now it's sitting in my second room at the moment, but I will be putting it back in the bookcase today.
Let me guess, you're finding RPG stuff you never knew you had.
No, I knew exactly what I had.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes it's that way with me. It's like, whoa, when did I buy this?
No, actually, it's the opposite with me. I'm finding stuff missing, and it's not making me happy.
Oh, it's like me and my DVD collection.
It's always evil when you know you have it, you just don't know where you have it.
Yeah, I still don't know where my creative campaigning book went. I am so pissed about that.
I'm like that with my DVD collection. I've got a copy of the Criterion version of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's the 5th time I bought that disc. My stepsons would have their friends come over, and it would take a walk.
Oh, I hate that. And people wonder why I hardly ever hold games at my house anymore. Yeah, That's why.
Yeah, so, that just...
yeah.
Good.
I'm right there with you.
I feel your pain. How about you, Full-On? What's up?
Oh, I've been doing Manhunter the LARP, also known as stalking through Colorado Springs with my gun because it's an open carry state, trying to find the bastards who robbed my garage day before yesterday.
Really?
Say what?
Oh, there's a band of idiots who run around here pretty much seasonally doing the garage door opener trick for detached garages, randomly finding things that will open, and they go in and they boost stuff.
What, do they just take like an opener and go down the block and click it?
Yep.
My God.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
I never thought that'd work, to tell you the
truth. It does, and they got 5 houses in my neighborhood day before yesterday, and because it's a detached garage that was, according to the cops, essentially, you didn't do anything to secure it. It was a closed remote control garage. What? So they say, here's your case number, file it to your insurance.
Yeah. So you're supposed to, put a lock on it and everything?
I don't know, something.
I've
rigged something up to make it more secure, but it's still annoying. And
you got that,
like I said,
you got that piano wire right at the head right there.
Yeah, rigged to the shotgun now. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. When it comes up, kaboom. All right. Mm-hmm. See, that military training comes in handy.
So yes, Manhunter the LARP for me, other than reading up the house rules for the upcoming Skype game.
Did you recover anything?
Not yet. I got reports out. I've screamed through all of the pawn shops and thrift stores around here, and the descriptions are on file. So Colorado Springs does this thing where everything that a pawn shop takes in, they have to report up. But if these guys do it through eBay or something like that, then they're never going to see it again.
So what did they take?
They got my wife's motorcycle jacket. They got a pair of my good cold weather motorcycle pants, one of my knives, a pair of gloves. It was really weird. They were very selective and only took certain things. They walked by a whole bunch of stuff. They rummaged through things and only took certain things.
Interesting.
But since I know they're armed, I have no compunction of shooting the next person I see panhandling under a street wearing a Harley-Davidson jacket.
Oh boy. Well, if we
don't shoot, you'll ruin the jacket.
Only if you shoot him.
It's hazard orange. Blood will go well with it.
Okay. So you want a big hole in it?
Someone's a little upset.
It's my wife's jacket. She's a fair weather rider. She'll only be out when it's warm anyway. She'll like the ventilation.
Okay. Good enough.
Wow.
So you've been reading over the house rules for the game, huh?
Indeed.
Okay. Yep. A lot of them. Anyway.
Not really.
Yes, really.
I'm yanking you.
Not really. Not really.
I'm yanking your chain.
I'm just saying. I've been in games where it's like 5-6 pages, and goes into really really deep detail, and it's like, oh
yeah.
Somebody.
I was listening to episode 15, the Ghoul Show, with Corey, listening about how he's got house rules for this, for that, and there's this. I didn't even go into all the house rules they have for specialty priests.
you do realize that the house rules for your campaign are 17 pages long.
Seriously? Well,
yes.
I know why. I know why.
9 pages, double column, 2-page print, but it's 17 pages long.
Well, I know why though. That's because I threw comeliness and perception in there just to be complete, but that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why.
Well,
otherwise, it'd have been like 4 pages.
House rules creep up on you that way. They just kind of build and build, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this. And when you roll back and decide to write them all out for somebody, you go, oh my God, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, my game is a little bit of a mutt, a little bit of a hybrid. Yes, I know.
What blew me away about that show is you said to Corey, and you have them written down. He says, no, they're all in my head.
Yeah, that still blows me away to this day.
Got like a ream of house rules in your head?
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
I don't. That's why I write them down, because I forget. Stuff falls out of my head all the time.
And believe me, it's not pretty.
Yeah, no, it's not. Believe me.
No, it's not. Okay, we got any emails. Let's dive into the emails here.
Yes, we do.
Here we have a voicemail.
Oh, yeah, we've got a voicemail, and I'm going to go back to that because I thought we were doing another one. But, okay.
That's fine. You're the email man. You put them in order.
Okay. Well, I've got the voicemail up now. I just have to set it up. So if you give me just a moment, which you'll probably edit out of this show.
No, we like to watch you scramble.
Folks, you know me better than that.
Yeah. Okay, I've got it going, so one moment.
Hi guys, this is DM Cal. First off, I gotta say, love the show, and second edition is where I got to cut my teeth, so I'm happy to be hearing it again. Listening to how you guys roll up stats, I thought I'd throw my hat in there for a couple others I do. My play group, we also sometimes did and I really loved roll 5d4, and you kept what you got. No re-rolls, no nothing. 5d4. It was really nice because it could give you that range of, you might have a 4, you might just be completely dumb, or just completely impairing the stat, and occasionally we had a guy who, he was a cleric, he rolled a 19, and he started as a first-level cleric with a 19 wisdom. He was really happy. He was also somewhat insane because he worshipped a dead god. It was a lot of fun. The other one that we've always talked about wanting to do but never did is we wanted to do a stats auction where you could auction off, like, we have an 18 upper bed, who wants it? And you basically auctioned off we're going to make it using like American flaws table, taking flaws tables from various systems, like Shadowrun or Legend of the Five Rings. So it's like, or Vampire the Masquerade 2nd edition. So are you crippled? Are you blind? Is someone hunting you? Do you have a contract on your life? And the big one was, are you a fallen paladin? So if you'd be starting right there, boom, fallen paladin, can't get past that. And it gave people these hooks for them to start with. So it's like, yeah, you've got all these great stats, and look at all the baggage you're coming with. Love the show. Hope things are going great, and best wishes to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, who was that again?
That was DM Cal.
Thank you, Cal. That was a great email. Yeah, 5d4, that should put something interesting on your sheet.
Yeah,
I'm going to assume that that's with a racial adjustment. Otherwise, how do you get 4 on a 5d4?
Well, yeah, I was going to say. I call that the Guardians of the Flame method. Because at the beginning of that series, which is, of course, a wonderful series about a bunch of college students that get zapped into a D&D type world. Well, actually, it is a D&D world, but basically at the beginning of the book, one of the main characters is rolling up a character with his girlfriend, and it was a 5d4 set. So yeah, that's what I call
it. Pretty interesting. I like even better the stat auction. Now, we were talking earlier before the show about this. Now I understand what they're using for currency.
Yeah.
For that.
Character
plot hooks.
Yeah, disadvantages. Yeah.
Yeah, I got an 18, I got somebody 100 over here, somebody 100 over there, cripple over here, going once, going twice, goes to the cripple. We got a 15 now.
Yeah,
that'd be fun, actually.
You'd make a good auctioneer, Glenn.
Thank you. American. Anyway.
How would you stock up your pile of disadvantages to start with? Like you would pre-roll a pile or deal out a selection of, here's a bunch of flaws that you could choose to pick, put them up for your bids to go with these stats.
Oh, no. I just say to the players, look, here are the stats. I want stuff out of you. I want disads. I want plot hooks. I'm going to let you figure it out. Mm-hmm. And have them come up like a list if they want, or just like, okay, I'm insane, something like that. Right at the top of it, because you get some wild stuff that way.
Yeah, you could. I mean,
you get shades of Hackmaster that way with the terrible 3-0.
Oh heck, you get shades of champions that way.
Mm-hmm.
I could never leave my room, but I could kill everybody on the planet.
That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, my whole thing is, as always, if you do it that way as a DM, it's on you to reinforce those disadvantages.
Right, and the DM would be writing these down.
Mm-hmm. I'm slack-jawed, I speak with a lisp, I can't see color, and I don't know how to read, and I'm one-eyed, and I'm missing 4 fingers off my left hand.
But damn it, I'm really strong.
But I get grenades.
Yeah.
But we got cookies. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
That's kind of cool. What else we got, Brian?
Okay, our friend Brady Webb is back from across the pond in the UK. He sent us an email. Yeah, he sent us an email, so I will launch right into it. Hi, gang. Once again, this is DM Brady, a.k.a. Deadlock on OSR and Purple Worm from merry old England. You asked me to keep on writing, so I'm taking you at your word. Yeah, and he certainly did. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of this missive, I just want to thank you for reviewing Bastions of Faith and thereby making me aware of this great book. I've managed to get a hold of a copy and am currently adapting it for use in my Dragonlance campaign, where it will be the religious center of the Seeker faith in Ancelon. That's a really good...
Nice.
Yeah, that's really good use of it. I'd also like to comment on a couple of points made in Splatbook 26 regarding the subject of railroading and Glen's favorite, black powder weapons.
Here it comes.
I ad-libbed a little there. I added Glen's favorite. Firstly,
here it comes.
With regards on how to handle railroading in a published scenario, such as War of the Lance, I know I keep bringing this subject up, but considering I'm going to be running that entire Dragonlance series, I feel compelled to comment. My advice to any DM who is going to run a published campaign such as Dragonlance is to treat the modules as more of a timeline of events rather than doggedly following the scenarios, or else the PCs won't win. Ultimately, you and your players are partaking in an epic story akin to Lord of the Rings, that's true, and therefore the telling of a compelling story is paramount. In addition, I totally agree with Full-On's comments that there essentially exists within the gaming group an unwritten contract of trust between the players and the DM, whereby the players accepting to a certain point the path that the DM is laying before them in order to progress the plot of the adventure. A player or group who aren't willing to buy into this contract of trust and are always out to gazump, wow, there's an interesting word, gazump the DM by refusing to take up the plot threads are A, not only going to frustrate the DM, but B, eventually destroy the game, as everyone will lose interest because there is no real plot development. The point is that whether it's a homegrown or a published adventure, excuse me, the DM puts a lot of effort into the preparation and running of a game, and the players need to respect that. Okay, that's the first point.
Well,
Word!
Yeah.
Word up, yo. Yeah.
Well, you know about the guy who's trying to gimp the players, or gimp the game for the DM. He's not really fighting the DM. It isn't DM versus players at that point. It's the players and the DM against this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been in games like that.
Because the players ain't going to put up with it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've played in games like that. It's not.
It's easier to control when it's just one crack-headed wild card, but it does turn. There do turn groups that, as a group, take the adversarial against the DM position. Maybe it's because the DM deserved it. Maybe it's just because the players are dinks. That it's us versus him, no matter what he says or does.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh no! Here comes the plot hammer again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was I saying? As far as I'm concerned about that, when you put out a plot hook there, yeah, there's bait on it, but that doesn't mean the fish have to take it.
True.
But once they take the bait, it's on.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you can do some side stuff. The characters can do little things. Something looks a little more interesting going, that's fine. But the plot's on.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do a side adventure, you could do a side adventure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But
everybody
you guys
tangents. Tangents are great.
You guys have bought in, so this is the plot.
Right.
And I'm not going to push you on it. This is just what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the world goes on despite whatever you do, if you're doing or not doing.
Yeah, that's how I run my games.
Going on.
And then, boom, the gods fall and everybody dies.
Yeah, rocks fall, people die.
Yeah.
As far as the way, if I ever did do the War of the Lands thing, I would. First of all, I don't think I would do the War of the Lands because I'd read through the modules and it's like I'm going to take the Star Wars perspective on this.
Okay.
You guys are some other place in Corinne. This is happening over here. You're over there.
Mm-hmm.
And it may, coincide a couple times.
Yeah.
But you're doing your thing. You may be fighting for them over here. Kind of like I said, Star Wars. In the Clone Wars, there's plenty of people fighting all over the place. You don't have to tell the story of the Clone Wars. You can tell what's happening over here in this backwater planet about the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
You want to stay away from the central plot line unless you're dealing with people who, for whatever reason, have never heard of, seen, read, or gotten into this before. If you get total Dragonlance virgins, perhaps you could have an awesome time running the modules as is, and running through the core as it is, because you know everything as the DM, but they're getting their first exposure to it, which is fine. It's an awesome way to do that. But if you get the people who own all of the anthologies, have read everything, even have the DVD, and
signed by Margaret Rice and Tracy Hickman,
and
And they didn't.
Those are the people that you want to put into, and those are the people you want to put into make your own stories, or you want to run with break canon and you are the heroes instead versus you are the heroes also.
Right. Yeah,
I'd go with the also.
It's interesting you use the Star Wars analogy, Glenn, because going off on a small tangent, I actually was running D20 Star Wars several years ago, and the people I were playing under wanted to actually insert themselves in the movie somehow. And I'm like, you're not going to do that. I'm sorry. You're not going to do that. If anything, if the closest you will get is, you might actually escort Princess Leia from this one planet to Alderaan so she can get on Tantive 4, so she can get over to, so she can get intercepted by Darth Vader above Tatooine.
Right.
That's about it. You're not going to affect the main story. No way.
See, I like the way that you can just kind of kiss it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me...
You may hear about the War of the Lands from somebody who traveled through there.
Oh, yeah.
One of the main characters, you're going through the same land as one of the main characters. You see, that's then the trouble being, we're going to follow them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, you know what I would do? If I was going to run the War of the Lance, I'd actually adapt Champions of Krynn, because that's a perfect example of how a different party of adventurers can affect the War of the Lance in a positive or negative way without and only maybe once in a while, one of the main heroes of the War of the Lance do cameos. I'd probably take that game. That's the Gold Box game, Champions of Krynn, for those who don't know. And I would go through it, and I would just write it all out. Write it out, stat it out, and be like, okay, you guys, you want to be involved in the War of Lance? Here. This is what you're going to do.
Right.
And, this is what you have. You have a chance to help, to be a helping hand to the original heroes of the Lance. And if I'm running this game and I'm running this campaign, there is a good chance that if you don't do certain things, that the armies of Takhisis will win. So this is what you'll do. Every once in a while, you might run into Raceland, you might run into Caramon, you might run into Tanis, you might run into Tasselhoff, and, every attempt to kill him will almost automatically fail. Even though I know some people would want to.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I don't like Kender very much either. But yeah, this is your way of affecting history. This is your way to write your own name instead of just, everybody just taking... Yeah, instead of just taking the NPCs out of the Dragonlance things and going that way, which I think.
In fact, if you look in another Star Wars reference, if you look in like the original D6 Star Wars, when we're talking about campaign, they were saying many stories were told of this rebellion.
Oh yeah,
and yours is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much you could dip into. Yeah. I mean, from all of the stories that are out there published in one form or another. You have the entire run of Marvel Comics. Yes. You have the entire run of Dark Horse Comics, which covers the entire time spectrum from the old Republic and the ancient time of the Jedi to Legacy 100 years into the future. You've got all of that available. You've got all of the novels. You've got all of the movies. You've got all of the TV shows, to include Ewoks and droids, if you want to go there. You can tap and mine all of that.
I was thinking about the Star Wars Holiday Special myself, but yeah.
That's there too.
I know. Sorry. I couldn't resist. Okay, all right.
I feel like starting a Star Wars Skype game now, Tales of the Gungans.
Hey, you know what? I would love to run a D20 Star Wars game too. I've been dying to do it ever since I'd ran
like to try something with Gungans where I don't have to deal. I don't have to deal with Anakin then.
If you're interested in D20 rules that augment it, I've got my house rules published for Jedi classes and Starship Combat for the D20 system.
Oh, I've seen them
in the library.
I was going to use the FASA.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to his email.
Not too fateful on too much.
Yeah, not too much.
What's the next question?
Okay. Okay, now he goes on to, he says, now, my own problem with Dragonlance is not the alleged railroad. It's that half of my gaming group, and we just talked about this, half my gaming group have read the Dragonlance Chronicles, and the other half have no knowledge whatsoever. Ooh, that can be a headache. I trust the players who have read the books not to metagame, but they will have certain expectations that they'll expect me to deliver. I've explained from the start they should not expect their adventure to mirror the novels and that events will not happen the same. I have stressed this is their adventure and that the Tanis, Raceland, and Tasselhoff, etc. do not exist. Ooh, that's interesting. In fact, if they succeed, they will be the ones who will be known as the heroes of the Lance. By the way...
That's one way to do it.
Like I said, doing the heroes instead option.
Yes. Yeah,
that's
exactly. By the way, Hickman and Weiss, who wrote Dragons of Autumn Twilight to mirror the first 4 modules rather than the other way around. That's interesting.
Remember, these things were being created concurrently.
That's true. However, by the end of Autumn Twilight, they found that by following the modules, they had 16 characters in Pack Starcast to keep track of, and it was becoming way too confusing. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Occasionally, you bring up the contentious issue of black powder weapons and their use in AD&D. Okay, Glenn, this is for you.
Segue!
Yeah. I know this subject was discussed on Save or Die, as I wrote in adding my suggestions on how to handle them, inspired by Warhammer Fantasy.
Without me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We know, Glenn. Calm down. It happened a while ago. Let it go.
Feel my pain, folks. Feel my pain. Breathe. Anyway, go ahead.
Breathe, Glenn. My suggestion was that the weapon misfires on a roll of 1 to 2 to hit a bit like a more dangerous fumble roll. If you roll a 1, the weapon explodes, inflicting full damage on the wielder and destroying the weapon. If the roll is a 2, however, the weapon simply fizzles and fails to fire, and requiring the weapon to be cleaned and reloaded, taking 2 to 3 rounds to do. However, perusing my copy of Creative Campaigning, I came across some suggested and very good rules on pages 8 to 10, which we did. We kind of skipped over that, now that I think about that.
Well, now we will make up for it. Go ahead. What does he say?
Okay. In the past year, I've been fortunate enough to introduce new friends of mine to the wondrous world of role-playing, expanding my list of friends whom I regularly game with to 14. Wow. I have 3 different ongoing campaigns at the moment. Jeez. And this guy writes for Marvel? Jeez. Wow. I wish I had that kind of energy again.
Or time.
That too. Consequently, I also managed to encourage one of my new gamers to make the transition from player to DM, and after thoroughly enjoying my Dragonlance campaign, he has decided that AD&D 2nd Edition will be his system of choice. Good choice.
Good.
Yeah. He has bought himself his DMG and is slowly equipping himself with the other essentials, such as Monstrous Manual. I've also guided him in the direction of your excellent podcast, as well as the SOD and RFI podcasts. Plus, he doesn't know it, but I bought him a copy of the Campaign Sourcebook and Catacomb Guide for his birthday. It's okay to mention this on the air, as by the time this is broadcast, his birthday will have been and gone. Anyway, my question is...
Happy birthday!
Yeah,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Good gaming.
Yeah, please, by all means.
And read that book.
Yeah, read that book, learn it, live it, love it, yes. Anyway, my question is quite broad in its subject and could well make a topic for an entire show, but what advice would you give for new DMs such as my pal James? Shall we tackle
that book? Learn it, live it, love it. Next.
Yeah. Let's see.
Make sure they give you regular tribute of munchies.
Yeah.
And
sacrifices are welcomed but not required, yes.
And rule 0 in the myriad rules of role-playing games, don't be a dick.
Yes.
Don't be a dick. And eat a regular meal once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, living on just fast food is not good for you. Trust me, I've found that the hard way.
Go to a restaurant or go to your mom's house or something, get real food.
Mm-hmm.
You can't live on Doritos and Mountain Dew.
No, you can't. It's a bad idea.
Although I've tried.
Yeah, and so have I at one point. Yeah.
Actually, that's convention advice there, but, it happens.
Well, conventions, that's a mulligan. You know what I mean?
Very much. Let's see. DM advice. Don't screw up. No, that's too general.
Yeah, you're going to screw up.
Flexible.
Okay.
Expect the unexpected because you can come up with courses of action A, B, C, and D. They're going to take Q.
Yep. And
learn. There's people have written about this before. There's reamed things have been written about this before, but learn how to DM on the fly.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to use that as your standard ZM choice as far as style goes, know how to do it because there's going to be that time where you're going to have to.
Yeah. And I already foresee that time coming with you two.
Yeah. And I also recommend getting a copy of Vornheim if you're going to do City Adventures. If you're going to DM on the fly, that's a must-have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Vornheim is a great book with the tables and everything in there. Even if you don't use Vornheim, just get the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $17-18. You can get a PDF hardback. I recommend the hardback so you can roll the dice on the book. It's so much fun. Anyway, but Vornheim, and that's my advice.
Mm-hmm. My advice to echo Glenn, learn that, no matter how many contingencies you prepare for, your players just might find one that you didn't think of.
Learn to say yes, but as opposed to no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there is much value in Gary Gygax's 50% rule.
Can you reiterate that? Because I'm not familiar with it.
He has to make a decision that's not covered in the rules. He roll a d6. 1, 2, 3 is yes. 4, 5. 50% is yes.
Right.
50% is no.
Okay.
And that's the way he would do it. Mm-hmm. And there is much wisdom in that. Mm-hmm. When it all comes down to it, roll the die, make a decision.
Right. No, I used to do that in most of my games, except it was high or low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
works
but
out the same
thing. Yeah, it was the same
D10,
thing.
D12, whatever. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same thing. Just, and like he said, sometimes it's just rolling the dice. They make funny noises.
Yeah. And they contribute to player paranoia, too.
They do.
Develop a poker face develop a method of describing, be detailed in describing without giving things away.
Yeah, don't
just say it's an orc. Don't just say you go into an empty room. Give ambience, give environmental factors, give descriptive elements, and put people on their toes and keep them guessing.
Let me temper that with be concise, be descriptive, but don't go into filibuster.
Yeah, don't turn into Tolkien. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because you will bore the living hell out of your players.
You can find a happy medium between those two.
Mm-hmm.
Find it and use it.
Oh yeah, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that if somehow you screw up, that it's automatically going to just ruin the game and everything else. Learn from your mistakes. Try not to make them again. And just remember, everybody that's gathered around your table is there to have fun. Don't make it too serious, but don't turn into like Looney Tunes on crack either.
What's wrong with my games?
It's not you versus the players.
Yep.
It is you are presenting a world for the players, and of that world you are presenting both the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. They have to know they don't have script immunity. They have to know you are not out to kill them, but they also have to know that they will die if they do something stupid.
Yeah, it's dangerous out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And let me wrap up with two little points.
Go ahead.
One, if you're going to fudge, and you will fudge dice.
Yeah. At some point you will have to.
For the monsters and for the players.
Yes.
Depending on how the game is going.
Mm-hmm.
And the last piece of advice I can give you, my friend Mark, who ran Champions and D&D, was this is a neutral world. I am a neutral GM, but I am rooting for the players.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay. I couldn't agree more about that.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Do we have any more of his?
Yeah, he's got one more thing in a couple of postscripts, so I'll go real quick.
Okay.
Lastly, in the early days of the podcast, you said you're going to discuss the many campaign settings that were available for 2E, and I just want to give you a little prompt in that direction, as so far you've only covered Birthright. I would love to know your opinions on such settings as Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, Ravenloft, which we just did. So in your face, Brady.
That was our
yeah. By the time
this podcast, this will have been done.
Yes,
that was our Halloween show.
Yes, that was our Halloween show. Dark Sun, etc., and some of the lesser known or discussed expansions, such as, and you'd love this, Glenn, Mask of the Red Death.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Or Al-Qadim. Okay. To answer that, actually, the next podcast we're going to do, because I put it off long enough, I'm going to do Mystara.
Mystara in 2E.
Yes, Mystara in 2E, and the only reason we didn't do it for this podcast is because all the relevant material is sitting in my second room right now.
Waiting to get sorted out.
Yeah, waiting to get put back in my bookcase, yes. Forgotten Realms, we're trying to have DM Corey make his triumphant return. He's kind of just easing his way back in. I see him posting on a couple of different places and on Facebook.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay.
But we're going to get him back because he's our resident Forgotten Realms expert.
Well, one of them. That's my campaign setting of choice because it has enough room for me to put everything else in if I need it.
Well, I didn't know that.
You're welcome.
So that episode will be turned into that episode will be turned into, and in this corner.
Oh, I look forward to that. Yeah,
135 pounds, full on gamer. Yeah. This could be a
226. What?
Okay, 226. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt. All right.
I wish I weighed 226.
I wish I did too.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, he signs off with Excelsior. Then he says, P.S. No, I'm not contractually obliged to sign off with Excelsior, but I do like to. Plus, I did bring back the hallowed ranks of Marveldom to our line in the UK Marvel titles, much to Stan's delight, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure Stan loved that. Postscript. Glenn, Brian, and Full On, you're welcome to come and stay at mine anytime you decide to cross the pond. We can talk about comics and hopefully fit in a game or two, much to my wife's annoyance.
My God, I wish I could take you up on that.
Amen to that.
I'd love to visit United Kingdom, but I have a feeling if I ever do, it's going to be with wife in tow, and we're going to have to stay someplace nice.
Maybe not. Maybe.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering how he feels about me teaching Champions to my grandsons.
Well,
being
get him on
Marvel. Yeah, but no, he's like plays Marvel superheroes. Like, sorry, dude, that's where I cut my teeth in superheroes as Champion. Sorry, but no offense. Sorry.
Yeah. Your choice. It's all good, Glenn.
Yeah. What else?
We forgive you.
Yeah. We'll forgive you. On
you, yeah.
I think don't you think we've done quite a bit as far as emails go, or do you?
I think you're right.
One voicemail and one large email from our friend DM Brady.
Yes, the rest will come in the next show.
Yes, they will.
And they will keep coming. If they don't, we'll be sad. Please send them to thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can post on d20radio.com, or gaming.org, purpleworm.org, and that funny little phone number you can leave voicemails on, which is
405-806-0555.
And we will listen to it, laugh, and then put it on the show.
Not necessarily in that order.
In that order, yeah. Let's go to option package.
My personality undergoes a startling change.
You should meet me because I'm a great guy.
I like big fat men like you. When they fall, they make more noise. And sometimes they never get up.
Option package.
Okay, option package. Campaign house rules, or as Brian wrote in Astro Scooby East, campaign rouse rules.
Rocky Raggy.
Round Marge.
Oh God, what was the guy's name? Oh yeah, Frank Welker. That was his name. Guy who did all those voices.
You inherited them. Anyway, so we're going to talk about house rules.
Yes, we are.
I've talked about those in the past on here already. In fact, I was just listening to show 15 where somebody sent an email and we started going off on house rules. But I'm sure you guys have some new insights into that. Mr. 17-page house rule, Brian.
Oh, shut up. Jeez. Man, I include two things, and all of a sudden it becomes 17 pages. That's right. But and I can see why it is, because I added the descriptions for two additional ability scores that I use, which is the bulk of it. But anyway, with house rules, of course, most of us, create house rules because we just think of a better way for something to work rather than going by the book. And, almost every game I've ever played in has been house ruled, no matter what system it was, be it D&D, be it BattleTech, be it Shadowrun, Star Trek, Marvel superheroes, whatever. Everyone just comes up with their own different methods of doing things, and I'm no different. I have different rules for character generation. Some of the house rules I made were just to clarify things so that I wouldn't be asked, when everyone's rolling up characters, hey, do you use this handbook, man? Do you use that handbook? Do you use this? Do you use that? It's right there in there. Of course, everything is subject to my approval, which is, how it goes. I have rules for multi-class PCs, weapon specialization, healing spells, starting spells for mages. I had to take a house rule to the Stone Skin spell to prevent abuse, because that spell can really be abused. Energy draining attacks is a major house rule for mine, because I just redid it slightly. And non-weapon proficiencies, just to bring the scores back down to earth, so that it wasn't just based strictly off a player's ability score. And just from there, just to make it complete, I added those two ability scores and just different, just how to what they mean, how they affect the game, and so forth. How about you, Full-On?
Well, I've used a variety of house rules for all edition. Basically, every time you get a game going, you're going to come up with something, like you said, that you either feel a need that needs to be filled to flesh out the game, or cover a base that wasn't covered to your satisfaction, or to represent something in a better way. And a lot of mine involve incorporating things from other games or other editions to add to the flavor of the game that I'm running now. I had no problems whatsoever bringing the vitality and wound points in from D20 Star Wars into my second edition D&D games.
Yeah.
I had no problems bringing the 20-point kicker in from Hackmaster. People have always gone with a lot of people go with the things like healing is maxed, or potions are maxed, or they've changed the die type of something in particular.
I brought the hero points over from Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Yep. Spend a force point, do something heroic. All kinds of things like that crop in. Different takes on proficiencies, different takes on martial arts. You could call it a house rule. I take all three martial arts systems and I use all of them as available things to learn in the game, whether it's Fighter's Handbook martial arts, the martial arts from Combat and Tactics, or the martial arts from Oriental Adventures.
That's kind of neat. Then you got this is this style, this is that style.
It's not just this style, it's this level of training available in general to specialist orders and to actual dedicated martial artists. And you can have all of them present and represent different levels of skill and different levels of dedication to the craft.
And no two fighter training camps or dojos or stuff will teach it the same way.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I mean, you can get a martial arts type training that comes from just being a good general man-at-arms from a soldierly point of view. You can get one that comes from a monastic order of priests that are warrior priests. You can get another one that is an actual monk martial artist. You know? They're all different flavors of the same thing. And you get all of these things that contribute to making your game better for your group. And that's the other thing is it's a thing to improve. A house rule is out there to bring the group together into agreement of what they're going to do, whether it's what critical system you're going to use, if at all, what skill system, what classes, races, combinations, multi-classing, anything along those lines.
Yep. And that way, you know, and also creating house rule also creates like a secondary effect. It actually lets the players, at the very least, it lets the players believe, whether they do or not, it lets them believe they have a positive impact on the game.
Yeah.
And for those of us that have been gaming a long time, not the people who are starting to go retro and go back and explore games for the new, for their first exposure to it, but those of us who started gaming and then added some house rules, the really good house rules showed up in the next edition of the game.
Yes, they did.
Again and again and again, and you see the evolution of that. And that's why people so embrace Dungeons and Dragons through all editions, up through the one that shall not be named, 4, as being part of the same core of Dungeons and Dragons, with a little bit of rules, with a lot of rules, with all of the combinations of those rules that can be ported very easily up or down the chain.
Yep.
Even, and this is kind of obvious, but even in a larger world of role-playing, that concept of house rules spilled over to every single other RPG out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'm afraid, and there are people. I'm afraid, like, if I get 2 into house rules, it's going to be like we're playing Monopoly. And it's like, Park Place, your rent is 26. No, I didn't like that. I didn't like the progression there, so I got a new chart for Park Place. So you pay me on. We'll roll a percentile dice. Okay, you're paying this much now.
Yeah,
we did Access and Allies with 2 sets of house rules that included, well, you could use either or both, which was having country modifiers for each of the countries. That's preset and changed a few things. And to avoid having to deal with re-rolling if you rolled a tech advancement that you already had, we just made 3 tiers of tech advancement. If you rolled the same thing, you got more of it.
Yeah, I mean, the just house rules as far, just using Monopoly as an example, the house rule was, of course, in the game, if you played it by the rules, if you landed on free parking, you got nothing. No, every time I played Monopoly, when
all
the game started,
on free parking.
Exactly, but there was also a $500 kicker that went in the pot originally.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, there was one game where I think it was either me or somebody I was playing with who was like on the verge of going bankrupt and being booted out of the game. And and nobody had landed on free parking for the better part of an hour. And, but there were fines going in the pot. By the time this person landed on free parking, there was, I want to say, close to $3,000 in in that pot. I mean, there was this big pile of money just sitting there. And, basically when that person hit that, he basically won the game. No, he did not only got back into it, he ended up winning.
Do you really win that game? To me, Monopoly is like a game you don't win, you abandon.
Well,
because I've always played like we played so long. It's like, can we quit now? Okay, fine, just tell me.
Yeah, that's like 9 out of 10%.
Depends on how willing you are to crush your enemies. I mean, there's nothing so amazing as watching role players play Monopoly, because it turns literally into Knights of the Dinner Table, where we're going to make the game better. And you start rolling, you start coming up with extra ways to use the dice of, You go to jail. I roll the dice to see if I kill the cop. I'm going to burn down the property for insurance. First we build the game up to maximum until everything is populated and everything is built up, and then we run around trying to destroy everybody else's properties.
Oh wow!
I hit you. How many hit points does the hat have? Yeah.
How many points? How many points do I have to roll to take out a house, and how many to roll to take out a hotel?
Wow.
That's
that is nights at dinner.
What happens if we're going to put multiple hotels on a property?
I've done that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. When you land on Boardwalk, you owe somebody like $7,000. Yeah, I've done that.
See, I've associated that kind of play to Risk.
Oh God.
Which I do not play anymore. It seemed like every time somebody would win, it'd always be the guy who had Australia. I couldn't figure that out.
No, this guy. Well, you know what? The last time I played Risk was like, God, what is this? 2000? Yeah, it's 20 years ago now. Me and just a bunch of people would just get together in a Dunkin' Donuts and hang out. Order coffee, order donuts, order stuff, so we wouldn't get kicked out. And the Risk game came out, and we had anywhere from like 3 to like 6 players playing, and of course I grew to hate Risk because it was just the classic game of how to screw people over. We can have No, it turned into paranoia because it's like, no, we're allies. I won't attack you. Yeah, go ahead and attack that guy. You leave your borders undefended. I won't invade you, sucker.
Yeah.
But so yeah, oh God,
I didn't like. Actually, my favorite game was Junta. So
wow,
it was like Risk with a sense of humor.
But
anyway, we're getting off of house rules.
Yeah, we digress. House rules. But yeah,
Things that people house rule: the spells for priests or the spells for mages, the hit dice, the hit points, the healing, the classes, the proficiencies. What else?
Oh,
crits and fumbles.
Yeah, which I have.
Yes, which we'll go into in a bit.
Yeah, the 50-point rule, which we've covered previously.
That's not a house rule. That's a listed in the book option.
Yeah, but it's but I put it.
But choosing to use it as a house rule.
Yeah, I bet they used to use it as a house rule before second edition.
No doubt.
Yeah,
the biggest.
There's an example right there.
Yeah, it's like
pretty much anything from dragon magazines, like the articles about the strengths for dragons. You think a dragon is bad just out of the book. Take him and give him a storm giant strength with that attendant adjustment.
Oh, yeah.
And the modifier for age.
Oh yes.
Ooh.
That's why I love Forgotten Realms dragons, because that's the base rule that we use for them. Is you take the dragon from the monster manual. You double his size, and that's a Forgotten Realms dragon. You double their attacks because they're all automatically hasted.
Oh, Jesus.
You give them the strengths for dragons, and you give them the age categories for dragons, and then you wonder why people choose to go hunting dragons.
Yeah, well, if that was the case, no. Okay.
That's the way they're presented in all of the fiction in the Forgotten Realms, and they are that awesome. They are forces of nature to be contended with, not piles of XP to be collected.
Yes.
And if you fight one and win, you earned it.
Yeah, basically doubling the power of a second edition dragon. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, we should probably go on. Let's see what these folks have. All right, pile on your house rules to us at THACOshammer@gmail.com. Yep. Just pile them on, or OSR Gaming, or D20 Radio.
Yes, indeed.
Or you will not let me forget that, will you? Purpleworm.org, smoke signals, FedEx, anything,
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to it's in the book.
You ever go to school, stupid?
Yeah, and I come out the same way.
Is that your idea of an idea?
It's in the book.
It's in the book. Okay. Armor on here. Critical hits.
Gird thy loins, Glen.
Oh, yes.
Now, are we going to deal with critical hits here, or critical hits and fumbles?
Both. Most definitely both.
Critical hits. And we're doing this kind of from a base here, from a Dragon article.
Mm-hmm.
which was recodified into Players Options, Combat and Tactics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is
Good Hits and Bad Misses, featured in Dragon number 39 on pages 34 and 35, and reprinted in Best of Dragon Volume 5, page 65. So nice they did it twice. Oh, yes.
I think someone likes critical hits.
Find it in Combat and Tactics on page 102 to 115.
That's correct.
And I thought you said good pizza. I thought you said good pizza and bad misses.
You're just hungry.
Yeah, I'm just hungry. It's past lunchtime,
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen critical hit charts. I've seen some that are just like nothing. I've seen some that are like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm. The Rollmaster critical hit charts come to mind.
I think of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's like, okay, we're all cripples now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, missing arms.
Two of us are dead. So, do we want to go on with this?
Mm-hmm.
And that was just a squad of orcs.
Right. Well, see, with good hits and bad misses, the system that they came up with was that all you had to do was exceed your hit-to-hit number, whatever you were attacking, by 5, and then it went into like this little mathematical formula where it came out to be a percentage chance that it was a critical hit. Now, to me, that was a little too complex for my taste back then.
So you house ruled it and made it pretty simple.
Damn straight I did. Basically, natural 20, you rolled a d10. If you rolled a 9 or a 0, it was a critical hit. But I modified it from there after the advent of 3rd edition, which was basically, okay, you roll a natural 20, you get it. You have a possibility for a critical hit. Then
or a natural 18 or better if you had the improved critical or a sharpness weapon or a keen weapon or whatever that expanded your threat range.
Granted. And then from there, you would roll a second d20. It was a straight attack roll. There was only, in the way I run it, there's only like 1 or 2 things that can actually affect that roll in a positive manner. And if you roll, what's that, Glenn?
See, that's a house rule again, because the basic rule was you roll your attack roll with all of your modifiers, and if you hit a threat roll of a natural roll that actually still hit, you would then roll around and repeat your roll with all of your modifiers as is, and all it takes is a hit.
Yeah,
if it's a miss, you don't get the crit. If it's a hit of any stripe, you confirm your crit.
Yeah, but, with especially once you get way up in levels, like up over 9th level, that's almost automatic. Which was my thing.
You know what? That smacks of something I really hated was backing your crits.
What do you mean backing your crits?
You roll a natural 20. I crit. Well, roll again to see if you really hit.
Well,
what?
One of the things with 3E that they opened up is that more than a natural 20 did it.
Mm-hmm. But
either by virtue of your feats or by virtue of your magic weapons or spells, you could increase your threat range and get a crit chance on a 19, on an 18, on a 17. You could get a duelist with a friggin' rapier who can crit on a 15 or better.
Yeah, well, yeah. But,
so them confirming it is pretty much automatic. And hey, I actually like that.
You're getting your D20 in my 2E.
Yeah, I know.
You're getting a 2E in my 2E. And they don't taste great together.
Oh dear.
They do. Okay. But going back to the original, they have their little system where it's a little bit complex where they talk about confirming it with this percentage chance. I house ruled it too, and we just pretty much stayed with the natural 20, got you your crit, and then we rolled on the chart. And your natural 1 got you your fumble, and you rolled on the chart. Yeah. We were hard severe that way. Yeah. We did kind of incorporate this bit in here about if you're going to fumble, make the system shock to see if you really fumbled or if you just missed badly. Same thing. It wasn't just automatically start flailing around and chopping up all your friends. It's not as bad as some people make it out to be. Just like with the crits, I mentioned this on another podcast, but I'm going to mention it here since we're talking about it in detail. The good hits, bad misses crit charts. They have their percentages. They have their double damage, they have their triple damage, and then they have all the rest of their special effects.
Yes, indeed.
What people forget is that all the rest of the special effects are still triple damage. So it's not the guy running around as a one-eyed, one-legged, one-handed dwarf with a spear through his guts still coming at you like the Terminator. He's probably dead or dying because he's got constant blood loss from the amputations. He took triple damage from each of those crits that happened to be arm lopped off at the shoulder, leg lopped off at the knee. So you start piling all that damage together. It's horrific, and it will take out the highest level characters in short order.
What are you talking about? That's just a flesh wound.
Arms off!
Yeah. But my whole thing.
Bite your kneecaps off!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm invincible!
We'll see.
It doesn't happen that way.
Right. Well, see, with my system, it basically is like the damage gets substituted for the effect, because there was no point in putting, at least in the way I did it, there was no point in putting the effect in if the target also suffered triple damage, because triple damage can be horrific. But you know what? I mean, we'll just agree to disagree on it full on, but that's how I've always run it. The effects, especially as you go, well, I don't know if I've ever sent you my charts. I'll send it to him after the show. But the effects of these things are just so terrible as you roll higher on the chart, that the triple damage just makes it academic, because most of the time, when you hit a target and you inflict triple damage on it, the damage is more than enough to kill it most of the time.
But, I mean, look at some of these, like 96 on missile and thrusting weapons.
Yeah.
Larynx punctured.
Yeah.
You're going to do just flat 1d6 damage for an arrow and larynx punctured.
Well, see,
you're going to do triple damage and larynx punctured.
But you see, this is where the combat and tactics comes in. That's where
they evolve the system, and we can go into that next.
Yes, that's where my crit system is a marriage of the two. Because you have stunning effects, minor bleeding, major bleeding, severe bleeding, let's see, broken bones, spinal injuries, movement rate penalties, attack roll penalties.
Knockdowns?
Yes, knockdowns, yes. And you know what? In D&D combat, sometimes the worst thing that can happen to an opponent or a character is to get knocked down.
That's right.
Sometimes even damage doesn't even have to enter into it. The fact that the character has to spend his attack or his action getting up from getting knocked on his butt, that can be almost as crippling as anything else. But
and the old trope of, I don't need to run faster than the dragon, I just need to run faster than you.
Then there's that, yeah. Yeah, and when you've got a broken ankle and your movement rate is reduced to 1/4, you're going to outrun your compatriot rather easily.
Yes. See, I've got it simple. Roll a natural D20 and do double damage, that's it.
Yeah. I used to do
I
that.
carried that. It was enough. I carried that over from basic, as opposed to Vince, who does roll a natural D20, good. Roll again, get an 18 to 20, half again as much. Roll again, 18 to 20, half again as much. I got like 2.5 times damage on one hit one time with him.
Yeah,
I mean it's nice, but
there's
I can't keep going on.
I get it. There's too many dice rolls. I mean, I just with the system I created, I just moved it down to 4. And if you didn't, just basically 4 simple dice rolls. It was the crit, the confirmation of the crit, and yes, I do use that. I know, but the whole thing is it's just simple. Just your THACO versus the monster's armor class or your opponent's armor class. That's it.
But you already did it when you made the crit.
Well,
it doesn't negate the fact that you hit him.
What?
It doesn't negate the fact that you hit him, and it still lets you hurt him, and, you could still do your basic of, you're going to get double damage, no matter what.
Well, see, I kind of changed that, because, if you get the natural 20, you get maximum damage, guaranteed. Maximum. all your bonuses included. If you get the critical, then you just do the location, and then you roll and then you roll the severity, and that's it.
Okay, you do hit locations. So
yes,
yeah,
yes.
I don't, so I understand that now.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's just I've been in too many games where back it. Okay, roll your damage. What? You didn't back it, you don't get max damage.
Oh no,
man!
See, when somebody rolls a natural 20, they should get just for doing that. They should get just a little bit of a reward. That's how I feel about it. That's why I gave it max damage.
In some cases, that's more fair than double because there's always a guy who gets the crit with the times 3 critical damage
and rolls a 1. I love that.
Exactly.
All the
I've
time.
seen that happen too.
It.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it just chafes my butt. I swear to God.
I love it. I mean, yeah, that nothing amuses me more as a DM when that happens because they are happy as a
more
pig
when they
in
want
mud.
to do that to them. The goblin critical. Watch this. He does damage after doubling.
Grab the DM. Okay, buddy, up by your thumbs.
Yeah, but that's why I gave max damage because, if you roll a natural 20, I'm sorry. It's D&D. Every game I've been in since I was 11 years old, when you rolled a natural 20, it was an event. Every last time.
That's right. No matter how many 20s, no matter how many 20s throw down.
Yeah. And, it's like, it's like that whole thing I said in, I think it was, Splatbook 26 about, the whole thing about, when we're talking about story XP and stuff like that, about story about my friend with the multiple criticals and things like that. That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
20s,
we were talking about the things that give XP. I have it on my XP chart that I've got posted in the library about you get XP for fumbling, you get XP for getting crits.
Mm-hmm.
For putting out crits, for getting someone to crit on you and living through it.
Right. I mean, I didn't do, I had, in my basic game, when Gage turned those zombies, there were 4 zombies coming out. I knew one was a zombie leader, so I made him a little tougher at the get.
Right.
And he basically critted on the turn chart.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, the other 3, okay, they turn around. They go away. But this guy's still coming. Because you didn't get him. But I was going to go back it or, no. He got the crit. He gets the turn.
And, dude, you're playing with, how old is Gage? 8?
8.
Yeah,
well,
you're playing with an 8-year-old. You don't get that complex
I do that with a 50-year-old, too,
Yeah, then that's cool.
And yes, I was playing basic, fine, but the concept still remains.
I'm with you, Glenn. Really.
Okay.
I'm not gainsaying
I'm not going to be a
dick
doing. About it,
We're not saying that that confirming a crit is a requirement. We're just saying that because of the lethal and dramatically character crippling nature of some of the effects, if you're going to start using more than just a flat damage adjustment, it does make it a fairer system and offers a better chance for the party and for players, because I've seen players that just threw up their hands and gave up on a character because they got critically maimed.
I was just about to mention that.
And having a method in there for them to either, you can just take the damage, or you can take the damage and something special, have a chance in there so it's not automatic, because it's the people who abused things like the good hits, bad misses chart, where it was just flat, automatic, you take all this, and it's horrible, and suck it up.
Yep.
That's where it started getting into all the people complaining, not only about the Terminator dwarf coming at you, but my thief is missing a hand, I can't be a thief anymore.
I think I've told that story about
that's one of the reasons I like to mix clockwork and steampunk in my world. Is yes, you can go over here. The guy will make you one.
Oh God! But I've had that happen where one of my players pouted because his dwarf had his leg cut off at the knee he got critted. It happened. I mean, the other thing I was thinking about using, but I don't know if I'm going to.
You got to make him shorter?
No. Well, yeah, exactly.
No, Yeah, I go to the DM. You got to make him shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Well, yeah, he's a gnome now. He's just a really big gnome now.
Pretty soon he's going to be a big pixie. Yeah.
But because that happened and it was legit. The dice were out there. I wasn't out to get him, but he was so mad that happened. He basically had his character kill himself. And I was like, no, it wasn't a knee. I'm sorry, it was his arm. That's right. And I was like, you know what? After the game was over, if you'd stuck it out and come to me, I would have given you a chance to either have it regenerated or have some sort of like magical replacement done or something like that. But
talk to a really friendly necromancer who's into the flesh golem thing, and see if he can give you a spare arm.
Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of this are the fumbles, of course.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Natural run, make an attack roll. If it misses the opponent's armor class, you fumble. If
in the article as written, it was you have their freaky little percentage of whatever it was.
Yeah.
But if it still happened, then it was a system shock.
Really? Huh. I didn't bother. Because, I had a lot of fun with the fumble. I'll explain that in a minute. But my system is, if you roll a natural one, make an attack roll. If you miss the opponent's AC, it's a fumble. Then you roll on the chart. Now, if you actually hit the opponent's AC, then you lose your actions for that round. Now, of course, that goes for characters and monsters alike. And and fumbles have saved a party's bacon more often than, like, I remember there was this one game I did with a bunch of friends, and one of the players was playing a barbarian, and basically in the first fight they had, which was against a bunch of orcs in the forest, he kept tripping over tree branches and knocking himself out. He did it like 3 times. And we're all, and you know what, fumbles, unless of course it's like the more severe ones, like, let's see, hit friend, normal damage, max damage, double damage, critical hit.
Right.
Or the ever popular double ought, roll 3 times, which turns into critical hit self, critical hit friend, and D10 feet.
And
it happens.
Yes, I kept that.
Aside from the playing I've done, my critical hits are pretty much what I told you, natural 20, double damage. But the critical fumbles, I have been sorely tempted to use a chart.
Do it.
But in the end,
do it.
I thought it was more fun to just like describe what happens.
No,
I can come up with something.
I
get that. Funny stuff too.
Yeah, I get that. So, but you see, I'm not that mentally agile.
You need to have options because there are DMs out there who will do, you roll a 1, your weapon breaks.
Yeah, all
time. Weapon breaks. You roll a 1, you hit yourself. You hit yourself. It gets boring. You roll a 1, you drop your weapon. I drop my weapon, I just draw another. You need to have that wide variety of things. It applies to all games and all systems. You need to have that risk. You might hit a friend, you might hit yourself, you might hit something else, you might still hit your enemy. If you want, you can have things where your fumbles do still hit your enemy, but do something bad instead. Like, you stuck your weapon in the enemy and it pulled out of your hand, and now it's over there instead of with you.
No, I have that.
I mean, I went from what you're saying, your weapon breaks, or you throw your weapon, it's over there, stuff like mine, all the way to, okay, the goblin fumbles. Okay, fine. He's fighting you. He swings. You duck. He cuts his own head off.
Mm-hmm. I've done that too.
That kind of thing.
I mean,
I've had times where criticals happened as fumbles.
Yes.
Not that. I mean, literally, they had a party member who was affected by something, and they needed to hurt the party member.
Mm-hmm.
On purpose. They were attacking a fellow party member to save him. They wanted to knock him out.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy used a big, soup spoon and attacked him and rolled a crit and rolled chest crushed, lungs punctured, death.
Damn.
With a spoon. And yes, this is before Robin Hood.
Wow. Getting back to this. things can always go wrong. One of the things, as far as weapon breakage goes, it's not automatic. They get a save versus crushing blow with a bonus for each magical plus the weapon. It's never been automatic in my game because that's just too damn arbitrary. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, it's an extra die roll. Fine, but you know what? I'd rather have that happen and give a legitimate, fair chance to the character rather than have his weapon break arbitrarily and him staring daggers at me for the rest of the night. You know, because his +3 Frostbrand got broke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would have only had like a 20% chance of breaking anyway. Minus 20% for each plus, minus 20% for the special ability of Frostbrand.
Yeah, but even so, you know. Yeah. Just having that happen arbitrarily, you know.
Yeah, I've been on the goes, don't roll a 1. You rolled a 1? Ooh.
Again,
I've done that.
Sometimes that happens. You have to deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell us all about your critical hits and fumbles stories. We want to hear about it. And go check out this article, Good Hits and Bad Misses, or the rework in Combat and Tactics. Mm-hmm. And you can talk to us about it at thacoshammer@gmail.com and all the other usual places.
And really, if you're a 2E player who's coming into it from 3E, you'll find it very familiar. The player's Combat and Tactics one is very familiar in chart form to your Game Mastery Critical Hit and Critical Fumble decks published by Paizo.
This is true.
That's true. That's another way of doing it.
Well, let's go into Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. Alternative abilities. Comeliness and perception. Okay, let's take them one at a time. Comeliness. 2 words. Dump stat.
Not really.
Yeah. Tell me about it. It's just like charisma.
Hey, I maxed out that. I'm going to give a player character story about using comeliness, the half-orc fighter thief female that I played, whose not dump stat was comeliness. She was actually fairly hot.
For a half-orc.
Well,
no, even on human standards. That's the whole point of the comeliness chart. With the adjustments, it was still better than tolerable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Basically, I said, think of her as Diz from Starship Troopers, but as a Klingon.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was thinking Belana Torres.
Yeah, I was going to say in Star Trek there are hot Klingons. So
yes, there are. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
if you can survive the lovemaking.
Yeah, Lursa and Bator. I was just thinking of those two.
They throw large objects.
Bator was rather hot.
The ping to pow. Yeah.
But but as far as it goes for me, I mean, the way I do it, the way I generate characters, there's no such thing as a dump stat. You know, because what you roll is what you roll. If you decide to modify it, that's one thing, but you know, it's not a dump stat. I mean, comeliness
and charisma, the only important reason to have them very high is if you're a cleric.
Or paladin for that matter.
Or bard.
Or a bard for that, yeah.
Or a thief who wants to be the face man type, con man type. We can keep going on.
Right.
If you want to be able to have a large coterie of followers, your fighters still need to have some.
Yeah, you got to get that loyalty base up.
Once again. Okay.
Busted. Yeah. Next.
But no, comeliness.
We're making that a regular feature on this show. It looks like.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Glen's busted this week on.
Hey,
Glen's
I have
busted.
Brian's confessions. Okay, so you're not alone.
Oh man, I've been wrong so many times on both these shows. It's not even. I could have a hot meal every day.
Come on, Glen.
The times I've been wrong on these shows, it's unbelievable.
Come on, we love you.
I know you do. I know. But anyway. Okay,
yes, we understand why they come out with comeliness. Comeliness came out in Unearthed Arcana.
Yes, I was going to say, out of the bowels of Unearthed Arcana come comeliness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I saw that, and I was just like, yeah,
because not everyone could separate charisma's leadership elements and personality from charisma's appearance component.
Correct. Well, the thing was that originally the idea was it was a mixture of the two. And I would remember reading that classic book, What is Dungeons and Dragons, which I think every new player should read if you can find it. God only knows the book's like 30 years old now. But with comeliness, it was a perfect separation of, somebody either having the magnetism but not looking all that great, or vice versa. And comeliness can affect charisma. Charisma can affect comeliness because it's, one thing just to be average looking with a good personality, but if you're a good looking person with a good looking personality, that makes you that much more attractive. At least that was my theory.
So very Hollywood of you, yes.
Yes, I know. But,
you can be pretty, and you can be a dick.
Yes, absolutely.
You can be a total troll, but be a noble and charismatic speaker.
Yep,
or leader.
I had friends like that. Ugly as a box of rocks, but just had a really, really, a really good personality and kind of just drew people to them. It was one of those things where if you could look past, it's like the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. He was a noble, gentle, caring soul, but it was wrapped in a very ugly bestial package, basically, right?
Yeah, or you can have the people who are just utter and complete evil, horrid, nasty, obnoxious people, but they're so pretty.
Yes.
That they can keep that public face out there. And
Kim Kardashian comes to mind. But anyway, I digress.
Vapid, brainless.
Yes. Yep.
Heirs to ketchup empires.
Yes, but damn, she's hot. Yeah. But
there's a reason people applauded in House of Wax when she got speared in the face.
And of course, it's like I've told this story repeated times. I'll tell it one more time. My ex-fiance rolled up a bard. Her bard had like a 17 charisma, and the bard was an elf. And I asked, and she rolled her bard's comeliness. After all the modifiers, it was a 22, which is damn good. She rolled like a 17, and with all her modifiers, it was a 22. It's either 22 or 23. And of course, like I said, she would just walk down the street, minding her own business, and here's this little 5 foot tall, blonde-haired, green-eyed, hot as all get-out elf walking down the street, and all the males that their necks would crack just looking at her.
Her.
Yeah, her. Accidents would happen in her wake. Wives would be beating on their husbands because they're staring so hard.
This is his version of the DM's girlfriend, okay?
Yeah, right.
That's
the DM's girlfriend. No, I don't think so. It was legit. I never do that. I've never catered to people like, no, I shouldn't say never because I used to cater a lot to people.
I don't know. It sounds kind of familiar. Mary Sue.
Mary Sue, whatever. But,
yank that chain.
Yeah, I know. But, as far as comeliness goes, it was just a way for, just to separate the hybrid that the original charisma stat was. And, as far as I'm concerned, it never was a dumb stat. Never. Okay. At least. And I know a lot of people think that way, though.
Especially if you dump it far enough, you start taking all of the problems of having a really, really horrible comeliness, which can include torch-bearing mobs chasing you down the street.
Kill it! It must die! It is spawn of demons!
It is very, very difficult to blend into a crowd with that kind of a charisma.
It's not. It's called a cloak.
Exactly.
And a mask.
Cloak. A hooded cloak. That's all it is.
I enter the bar quietly and go into the shadowed corner with the other 27 people.
Exactly. Oh, God. Is there anything more cliched than that? But anyway, go ahead.
Let's go on the other one. Perception. Now this is useful to me.
This is new.
Yeah.
This is new.
Yes. Perception.
That was oh God, what I want to say it was Dragon Magazine 120. No, I'm sorry, 113. I think it was. I'm not exactly certain.
This would still be in the days before they started coming up with skills for perception, so
exactly.
This would obviously be a stat.
Yeah, and basically perception, of course, is your ability, your ability or lack thereof to just notice things just kind of out of the ordinary. Have a good kind of awareness about you. High perceptions are, like, I'd say probably like, military snipers, even though they have the technology, they still have to have the eyesight, the ability to kind of judge a shot from, say 2,000 yards to a target and things like that.
Scouts,
of course,
rangers, people who patrols.
Exactly.
Thieves.
Thieves, rangers, yeah. I mean, they even have suggested minimums for thieves. Like a thief is they suggest like a minimum of 12 for a thief, and like for a ranger, a 15, which is a little high, but okay. Considering that you need 13s and 14s out the yin-yang to qualify as a ranger, that's not that much of a problem. But also, what I did, I took that also a step further. Instead, there were certain NWPs that were based off of other stats that, like alertness or danger sense or something like that. I based those off of perception, rather than intelligence or wisdom.
Now, generating this, you're doing it as a straight 3-6 stat roll or whatever your stat generation system is as normal. But I've also seen perception as a stat brought into gameplay, but generated as an average of intelligence and wisdom.
Intelligence, wisdom, yeah, I've seen that too, which is actually a pretty decent compromise. Because all of a sudden now you can't make, if you have like say a fighter or something like that, or even a thief for that matter, you can't use intelligence or wisdom as dump stats either. Because that is necessary to, having good hearing, good eyesight is almost integral to being a good thief. Also, for high perception perception scores, you get bonuses to certain skills, like for a thief, find traps, you get a bonus to that, not to remove, but to find them. Also, where was it? Here we go. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just completely lost where I was. There we go.
Perceptions.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
how they affect your skills. How they affect
hearing noise. That's like a major skill for a thief. With rangers, tracking. Even survival.
Being surprised.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a bonus to surprise with high perception. It starts
That's
at
right.
it starts at like a 16. You get like a -1 bonus to your surprise. Actually, I should probably change that around. It should be +1.
See, I had to get used to the perception being a regular stat, as opposed to something derivative. Like this perception is like based on your intelligence or something like that.
Yeah, see, I just mentioned that where I took certain NWPs that either required intelligence or wisdom, like say alertness and things like that, and I moved them to perception just to make it,
see, this is
just to legitimize it.
Right. So this is me coming from Champions again, because they have a perception. And in fact, that's the first game I actually ran into perception. I'm going, this is useful. Why don't we do this in D&D?
Yeah. I mean, they came out with...
Make it a house rule.
I finally figured out it was basically the DM going, make an intelligence roll.
Yeah, that's what
a wisdom roll.
Yeah. I've gotten into...
Or be generous and say, make your choice. What's better for you?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've gotten into debates on Dragon's Foot about this topic. Basically, they're just some guys who are just like, well, what's the problem with it being an intelligence roll? Because all of a sudden, because people who roll up fighters, they don't, intelligence for them is halfway to a dump stat, or wisdom is halfway to a dump stat. They'll take their lowest scores and put them in those two because they need strength, they need con, they need dex.
You know what?
Well, you don't see very much through the slit visor of full plate mail anyway, so
point taken.
And frankly, there's a good majority out there that are dumber than a box of rocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it stands to reason they'd have a bad perception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I see it this way. They're not really as dumb, but it's like they're so focused on what they're doing.
Yeah, oblivious.
Fighting, killing. I mean, good fighters will develop this. It's called instinct.
Yeah, I agree.
And so that's why I say there is some merit to the perception thing. But I'm saying if you don't have that,
there are other ways.
There are other ways to do it. I mean,
there are other ways.
There are skillful ways to do it. There are stat ways to do it. There are check ways to do it. Any number of particular things.
I can think of one right off the top of my head that I don't know if it's good or not, but take your wisdom and take his wisdom and intelligence, add it together, divide it by 2.
Like we said, before his bringing it out as an actual stat that's generated, I've seen perception done exactly like that. It's an average of intelligence and wisdom.
Yep.
Right. That works for me, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to, I won't poo-poo this. I mean, this is, I can buy into this better than comeliness.
Right.
Because it's got a real use.
But I like to be a sexy biatch.
Folks, tell us about these stats. Will you THACOshammer@gmail.com? What's the number? Throw the number up again.
405-806-0555.
All right. Okay, we're gonna move on to getting out of Dodge. Wow.
This is it. This is what? If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
Getting out of Dodge.
Getting out of Dodge. This is the first time we've used this without being a specific campaign setting. But it's about homebrewed campaign settings. Created and played in.
Okay.
There are tons out there.
Oh, very much so. See, I've always wanted to do a homebrew, but when this was before, such wonderful supplements like Wool Builder's Guidebook or the one that came before that for first edition, or creative campaigning for that matter. But to me, it was like I got to the stage of drawing out a map of a nation. That was easy, just sort of, just draw a continent coastline and then fill it in with, mountains here and forests
on the
there.
left-hand side, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that would actually be desert on the left-hand side. Yeah, desert would go right up to the ocean, yeah. But yeah, as soon as I got to that, that's where it stopped because it was like, oh crap, now I gotta come up with names for nations, I have to come up with cities, I have to come up with, political climates and stuff like that. I'm like, oh crap, I'll just use the star, damn it.
And when you do it well, you can get so much out of it because what is Forgotten Realms? It's Ed Greenwood's homebrewed campaign. What is Eberron? It's that guy's homebrewed campaign.
That's true. Well, Greyhawk was Gary's homebrew.
Yeah.
Blackmore, Yeah, Blackmore, that was Dave Arneson's, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's where all these things start.
I understand. I never had trouble with the names for towns, and I'm not talking about making them up either. I mean, I would do like the names lists or the name generators.
And there are tons of those online too.
Yeah, I mean, these are for characters, but some of them can be used pretty good for like towns.
Yeah, that's true. Or even you could use a name and just be like Davin's Folly or something like that.
Yeah. Fredstown.
Yeah, exactly.
Fredstown. That's a good name.
What was that? What was that out of Superman when Lex Luthor was going to take over the original? Otisville.
Otisburg.
Otisburg. Exactly.
But I can understand.
I love that movie. But
I
yeah,
understand
go ahead.
how much of a pain it can be to do that. That's why when I got that 2E first printing book, I was so thrilled. It's like, there's a map in here. Half my work is done.
Exactly. And that was a fairly detailed map too. That was, like I said, you scored on that. But yeah, for homebrews, I mean, at least with the advent of the World Builder's Guidebook and stuff, where it takes you step by step, it sort of holds you by the hand and walks you through it, and even gives you an example as you're going through it, piece by piece. I mean, it's like when we reviewed it, you said you either do it top up or top down.
And I do it sideways.
Exactly. Yeah, sideways and backwards. You can go from like one particular town and expand outward, or you can start with an entire planet and go inward. But
I've experimented a few times with taking things like the Fractal Terrains Campaign Cartographer supplement, pulling up the planet Earth map, and changing the water level.
That's what they did with Mastari, right?
When I lived in
change the orientation, change the water level a bit, and boom, you have something that's an alien coastline, but it still has all of your legitimate geography going for you.
Mm-hmm. I had a gal DM who had a Forgotten Realms campaign. Mm-hmm. Only she didn't use the Forgotten Realms. Actually, she did use the Forgotten Realms, but we were over on the other continent. You know where Mystic is?
Yes.
Above that, we were in New Amin.
Cool.
we were people who came over to populate, kind of like the Pilgrims, and then the rest of the people who came, the colonists. We were colonists.
Yeah,
and they were great. I mean, we had wild elves, which were basically the Native Americans. We had 2 or 3 tribes of those, and that was fun because I played a ranger from Baldur's Gate.
Tree hobbits.
Yeah, I came over from Baldur's Gate to make my mark. I wanted to set up a trading post in the woods, and I was basically playing a French Canadian trapper guy.
Oh, so you were Hawkeye.
No, it was more like, his name was Jacques Full of Nuts.
Oh God!
And and he had a giant weasel as a pet. His name was Roy.
So you have Gentle Ben with a weasel.
Yeah, he was fun. He was a giant weasel. He was fun. It was Jacques Full of Nuts, and he wanted to build a trading post. I came over here to build a trading post. Yes, I go out in the woods and chop the trees, and that kind of thing. That was
he
fun.
Chaotic good?
Yes, he was.
I thought so. Because that's a chaotic good mindset if I ever heard one.
Oh yeah.
But
I pulled world maps and photocopied them and took the outlines and turned them around and sideways and combined a couple of continents. I said, okay, here's my world.
Mm-hmm.
Another fun one I've done is I took the Earth map and I reversed elevations. Kept the water quantity the same, reversed the elevations values. It inverts all the ground to water, but because the water is the same volume, it fills a different ratio and different coastline, and it turns really alien, and that's an instant fix.
Yeah, that is pretty weird, but I like it.
Yeah, or without the water, it's like, oh, those are the Himalayas. Well, now it's the Grand Canyon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Marianas Trench. No, that's Mount Everest now.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Atlantis came back. Oh.
And it's on a plateau.
Yeah, how about that?
With dinosaurs. Yeah.
But hey, any excuse.
Anything with dinosaurs is good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes,
absolutely.
Dinosaurs and cowbell. Anyway,
dinosaurs wearing cowbells. What?
Yeah, sure. Got to have more cowbell. Homebrew campaign. So you never came up with one, Brian.
No, I mean, yeah. Once the Gazetteers came out, I fell in love with them, and any ideas I had for a homebrew campaign just went poof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, 95% of my work is already done. I like these Gazetteers. I like what they represent, and I'll get into them in our next episode because I'll finally knuckle up and do the Mystara show. But
I like them too.
I know.
Anyway, full on. Have you?
Merry Christmas, Glenn.
Yeah, right. Full on. What
I
about
have
you?
your address. Don't sass me. I have your address.
I have your address too, Cal.
But I have my Gazetteers, so there. Bleh.
Yeah, I also know Hitman. So anyway, no, I don't to you. Maybe yeah, comes over to your apartment. And says, hey,
playing my game for a month. I'll probably get a knock on my door.
Couple of guys come in. I hear you've been roughing up the Glen. Are these your dice? Crush. Oh, sorry.
Well, anyway. There goes another $30 towards Chessex. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, full on. What about you? What's your story about homebrews?
I've done a little bit of homebrews. Just like I said, I've experimented with trying to build pieces to start the shell of things. I've got generic campaign elements that I've worked on designing that can be. I generally go for that. I go for generic things that I can insert into anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to use them in Forgotten Realms, or if I want to use them in Eberron, or I want to use them in Greyhawk or Mystara or whatever, I can lift and shift and put them in, plus whatever I convert from one to the other to just change how things go by the book to make it my own book.
Right.
Full-blown writing up of my own game world campaign settings. I haven't gone that far yet, but I could probably compile a goodly amount of this, that, and the other and craft something together eventually. But I've done things. Okay. Parts of that you get into designing your homebrew is not just, okay, I've got a map, I've got countries, go. Sometimes people go with creating races or creating classes, or you're doing entire deity structures, unless you want to lift and shift on your own. Monsters and creatures that are unique to your setting. They're good things to have, they're good things to make, and if you can, do so.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Whether you're going to use them, start small. Build little things that are unique and insert them into the campaigns that you have or are running to get the feel of how you're going to do that, and then just expand on that and build more and put them together. And poof, you have your campaign set.
Okay, that works. See, I tend to come up with just enough to get me in trouble.
That doesn't take much, as I've come to find out.
Yeah, I've got a world called Skye, Skye.
Mm-hmm.
That I've just fleshed out just enough where I can actually run a few, I can run people in them. I've got boom, boom. I got this nation, this nation, this nation. Here's some city states. Here's a sea. Here's the ocean over here, and go.
Mm-hmm.
But don't go over that ridge because I haven't filled in the hexes yet.
Oh yeah, you didn't hear Sod when I did that. He said, "What's over the hill? You don't know. Why?
Yeah.
You're not going that way. Why? No, you're not. Get back here."
Yeah, you have to put the collar and leash on your players.
I keep thinking of the Truman. I keep thinking of the Truman Show. Don't go over that ridge, Truman.
You'll disappear. You'll fall off the edge of the earth.
Yeah, I want to go discover the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to go discover the world. Well, everything's been discovered. See.
But when I think more about it, I consider, as much as I hate to say this because I know people are going to berate me about it, I consider my Mystara campaign more of a homebrew because I've never followed how Mystara has gone either with the basic rules or the 2E relaunch. I decided, hey, all these towns, I'm going to take a certain format from a supplement and describe all the towns. The deities, because in Mystara they have immortals, not deities, which is kind of like...
I think that was their way of waltzing around trouble.
Yeah, maybe.
I look in Metzer and say immortals rules. Oh, you're talking about gods, but you don't want to say gods because you've been having trouble with the Christian people, so you're going to call them immortals.
That's true. Yeah, when that came out, that was what, like 86, 87?
Yeah.
They got their butt burned, so that's
That's true. That
was the beginning of it, I think.
Yeah, but my point is that rather than immortals, I took deities from various supplements, put them in, and that I added my own. And that's why I consider my Mystara campaign more of a homebrew than actually following the Gazetteers, because
and if you're anything like me, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say that information just goes to a certain point and takes just a tangent and goes in a different direction.
Right.
It takes a life of its own, which is
Well,
what
you
all
just
good
gotta- you
campaigns
had to-
should.
You have to you have to personalize it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every campaign you do.
And if you're anything like me, you totally ignore Hollow Worlds.
Yeah, I do
Yes.
too.
I'm actually sorry. I actually still have that box sitting on my shelf.
I'm not saying it's
I could have
bad,
bought
it's
something
just-
else. Several something else.
Buyer's regret.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No, it's
I
not
am-
bad. It's just not bad. It's just not for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I want dinosaurs and stuff, I could do it right there at Vistara somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I could.
Do what?
Lost World type stuff,
yeah. There's in the Karamakos. There's one right there. They actually suggested
They have
putting.
a plateau, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. They were suggesting putting Thunder Rift in Karamakos in the mountains to the northwest. Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah,
Who knows what you have lurking in the wilds of the Vast or Vasa,
I mean, my Gage and them are in Thunder Rift right now.
Yep.
And I'm trying to decide whether we want to use that map I found or Karamikios.
Either way will work.
Either way. What's beyond this? Well, you're going to either find this map or Karamikios. I don't know which.
But they're going to have to kill a dragon in order to get out.
I doubt it.
Oh,
I don't know. You know what I'm going to do?
What
I'm
are you
going to pull out that dungeon magazine and put that Dwarven Railroad in the mountains. That's how you get
I
it.
knew it. I knew it.
Yeah,
and you have to pay like this exorbitant amount of gold for them to use the train. Oh, wait a minute, the train's not working because we have a problem with Elamia and Dorgar. Go clean those out. And then you take a nice long train ride along the channel.
Yeah, and they can ride it any time you want, but every time you do it, you're going to have to get gist. Sorry, or your
Take your
mind
quest,
wipe.
do a gist, mind wipe.
Mind wipe. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I would just make it just a little bit more known, not by much. But anyway, that's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
How about
perfectly fine.
How about you folks? THACOShammer@gmail.com and the other places. DM's Rag. How about that?
Yes.
Well, that's quite a story.
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
And here it comes, right over the old plate.
The DM's Rag. DM's Rag. Okay, this one's going to be a little interesting. You remember let's talk a little bit about the super modules. Remember those? We're going to take all our earlier modules and try and link them together in one big book.
Some of them worked, some of them did not.
And I'm not talking – I said super modules with an S at the end. I'm not talking about one big book with all of them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them worked some of them didn't, was it In Search of Adventure?
That one, yeah.
That's just a compilation, not really a super adventure. It's not a super module, it's a super compilation.
Yeah, but it seemed like they tried to link them together and they didn't quite fit. And,
that and also
they learned their lessons.
Yes, they did. And also, people kind of squawked because in those modules there were certain adventures within that book that they cut out a lot of adventures
and changed.
Like B4 Lost City, it goes down to the 5th tier. It's like, why? No, you must have the Zargon. What are you doing? Damn it. Yeah, I remember that. But
E2, they give you the map and say fill it.
Yeah.
That's the extent of their coverage of the module, as opposed to the good B2 that was your excellent starter trainer setup module.
Yes, even I have a copy of that. It's in plastic, yes. But they started at. But this is a way for TSR to reprint their modules without having to reprint their modules.
Yeah,
if you follow me.
Yeah, because they did Queen. They did like Queen of Spiders, which was G's 1 through 3, D's 1 through 3, and ending with Q1. And that was interesting. I have that
because to them it was financially easier to print like 4 or 5 big books than a whole bunch of little modules. And they'll probably sell better too.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, back in the day, a little history lesson, TSR kind of took a bath on those modules in the I'd say probably middle to late 80s.
Well, part of the problem was because they were releasing them without extensive print runs. So they would turn into rares, and people wouldn't buy 3 if they couldn't get 1 or 2. Well, and people have to hunt like crazy to find them.
Oh, that's even before that time. I mean, I remember going to toy stores and going to hobby stores and stuff like that. I remember there was a KB store in my local mall. They used to sell all the D&D stuff at list price. Then when things started, kind of getting a little wonky for TSR in the, middle to late 80s, just before second edition started its run, they started selling their modules for $1. All of them.
Boy.
All of them. It was like, I remember I would get my allowance from my mom, and I probably still had an allowance when I was 15, 16 years old. But I digress. I would go to the mall and I would buy like all the B's, all the X's I didn't have, this, that, and the other thing. And but it's like you said, Glenn, when this is a way to kind of reprint their modules without actually having to reprint them.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about one specific one today called Against the Giants. Now, I know this is all the Giants series collected.
Yeah.
And it leads into the it leads into the Drow series.
Well, with this one, this is the 25th anniversary printing of it.
Right, but I'm getting to that. This was printed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Against the Giants was like late 80s.
Yeah, it was early
1981.
80s. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah,
this was one of the better ones.
Yes, it was.
Original modules were in 1978. They were collected in 1981, the first time for Against the Giants, and then again in 86 for the GDQ 1 through 7 Queen of Spiders.
Right.
Oh, they put those in there too. Okay.
Yes, they did. Yes, okay. That was the start off. That was the kickoff.
This is one of those big, super classic Grognar specials that everybody loves and everybody's done, to the point where this is the 4th time they've published this.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, I remember I had a copy of Against the Giants, and I sold it to these. Actually, I stole it to the game store, and then the people who bought it were in the store a few weeks later, and I actually managed to sell them on this. Mainly because this was during 3.35, and my theory about old modules is everything old is new again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so what I had done before I had sold it, I put a little. That's okay. I put a little pocket in the back, and I reprinted. I found online a D20 conversion of everything in Against the Giants.
Really?
I printed that out, stapled it together, put a nice cover on it, put the D20 logo on it, D20 conversion, and I folded it and put it in the pocket, and I sold it to the store, and I said, guys, you want this? This is a really good adventure. And look, there's D20 conversions in the back. And they're going, yeah. And so it's like I went over to the owner of the store and said, you're welcome. So,
wow.
So yeah, I'm a little familiar with this. But this is about the 25th anniversary rewrite.
Yes.
Which was done in the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, 25th anniversary, which was 1999, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's 1999. Let me look.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the stock numbers TSR 11413. Okay. This is like right at the end of second edition when they started going over into third. Yeah, 1999. I was correct.
Okay. So what's so special about this rewrite as opposed to the original?
Okay. The best part is that they include the original 3 modules, Gs 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
But they surround that with like almost a complete campaign setting to where this entire region is basically oppressed by giantkin. They're run by evil cloud giants. Those are the bigger bad evil guys at the end. You've got, drow, you've got ogres, you've got pretty much every giant type there is.
Whoa.
And in this region there are several towns. Of course, this is all based in like Greyhawk, but you can plop it down anywhere.
Right.
And the whole thing is that you can start a first level party in this adventure and take it all the way up to probably near, at the end, I'd probably say close to 20th level. Because, as we all know, in second edition, Giants got a massive power upgrade.
Yeah, they were really given a re-up.
Yes, they were.
Boy.
And, they take a lot more damage and they can deal out a lot more. But, so basically, if you start a first level character party in this, you basically start with like this orcs are, in control of this town, and you go in and you liberate it, then you find out that there's another town where there are ogres or bandits or whatever, and then you just go from town to town to town. I mean, it's not like a railroad, but you can plop up any level of party you want.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
Okay.
I mean, it really... The Giants campaigns, the modules themselves, I mean, they're talking about a groups of 9 characters of various classes averaging 9th level.
Mm-hmm.
So your Wizards of the Coast formula of 4 characters. Totally out of the water with these modules. Don't think that way or you will all die.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And to go into this is really something that would have been a second half of some campaign setting that you had going on. Something where they got started already. They're starting to get up into the 8-9 level range. Then you put them into Giants. I would never put first level characters against Giants.
Well, I agree. No, my point is that you can take any level of party you want. You can start a first level party, start them off with orcs, and work them up. Or you could take like a mid-level party, say around 5th or 6th level, start them off with like ogres or like giantkin, and move them up from there. Or if you wanted to, drop like a 9th level party in and immediately throw them into the steading of the hill giants. That's what I meant. And just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the lower level you start, the more pre-adventure you as the DM are going to have to provide.
And this supplement provides that. That's the best part about it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a massive upgrade rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
Of this.
Yeah, and the thing is that I've talked about this with others, and I'm like, this is great. This takes the classics and makes it better. This is it because you have the classic 3 adventures. They're, aside from the power upgrade that the Giants get, it's mostly unchanged.
Right.
And, you have that right there. So, so now you have an entire region where, the 3 original, giant, adventures, they're sort of like, strongholds rather than just, a place to go and raid and do whatever you're going to do.
Right.
And you can take like I said, a first level party, start them with orcs and things like that, and just gradually move them up.
Okay. Now I'm not familiar with the 25th anniversary rewrite. Now was this? I know the originals were AD&D first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first edition. Yeah.
Okay. They were rewritten for second for this, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Just so we're clear on that.
Oh yeah. I'm looking through it as we're talking. I'm in the fire giant layer. That's the 3rd one, which is of course the hardest one. I'm looking at it, and there's a barracks with 6 fire giants in it. Right. Highest one has 83 hit points. And giants can hit really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those where by the time you get to there, your characters have to be, I'd say, probably 12th, maybe 13th level to take that on and possibly win. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what did this, I shudder to think, what did this retail in the day?
Back in this retailed for
$17.95.
When you could find it.
Yeah. You want to know what? You can probably. Well, it was actually, you had to go to friendly local gaming stores for it because it didn't have a huge print run. But they're not hard to find.
I bought all the Silver Anniversary stuff at Gen Con.
Oh, really?
I was at Gen Con when Silver Anniversary happened. They were on the shelf, and I raped the shelves.
Not literally, but we
yes.
take your... Oh, jeez. Okay.
Remember,
and then after you got let out of jail,
remember, there's even hot Klingons. Anyway,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, true. So we're talking 1795. These days, who knows?
I'd say probably about 30, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Noble Knight right now just to see if they have it. But I don't think. Yeah, see, they've got. Actually, you want to know what? They have the Ravenloft 25th anniversary. They only want $13 for it, and in mint condition. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, retail's only $15, so that's a pretty good bargain. They had, but I don't think they have against the Giants in.
Have you ever?
They don't have it in stock.
Have you ever run this full on?
I've played in parts of it. I haven't run it. Okay. I've played it, and either we all died or we tangented ourselves off into other things.
Those drow look interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, nothing, and even though it's something that happens, nothing annoys a DM more when players decide to tangent themselves out of something.
Well, when sometimes we tangent ourselves, sometimes the DM tangents us, and sometimes somebody throws fireball in the ice caves with brown mold.
Oh, God. Oh, boy.
Did
you do that full on?
I did not throw that fireball.
Okay.
I put up the wall of force to keep the damn mold away after the room exploded on us.
Wow.
Oh.
Jeez.
Because somebody made their spellcraft check and noticed that the frost giants were wearing rings of warmth and didn't ask the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually very good.
That's as bad a Night Below when I had the paladin and I actually let the cleric talk me into throwing holy water into the temple of the slime god. Oh. Wow. We want to desecrate it. We're going to do it from the door. No, I need to go up to the altar and do it. Can't you just throw it from the door? No, I must. All right, but I'm going up there with you with my hand.
That's a hit roll with grenade-like objects sucks. I'm going to the pit. Okay.
I'm going to be behind you with my hand on your collar. You throw the thing, anything happens, you're getting forcibly yanked out of that room.
Wow.
I let him do that. I'm still like, dumb.
Yeah,
but
not the best of ideas.
Not his. Yeah. Oh God. Talk about comeliness and charisma and powers of persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
My God. On a paladin, no less. My God.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, look for it. It's still out there. You can find it at reasonable prices, believe it or not, and it's well worth getting.
Yeah, I think so.
Let you add to the classics. It gives you campaign resources to tap into over and above what OS already hosts with Thorkey and his rewrite of extensive, 4, 5, and 6 for the Giants modules.
7.
Yeah.
He's gone that far.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's our
But you can probably do really good mashing all of this together.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. I'd like to see it. I think somebody suggested that, and people are like, are you crazy? It could be done.
Anyway, we are at the end of the show again. This splat book is getting ready to be closed. In fact, it is closed. And that was interesting, guys. That was very, very long. I mean, interesting.
Oh, jeez.
Glenn. That's all right.
Come on now.
Hey, no. I go any further, we're getting into innuendo and double entendres and all that kind of stuff. But anyway,
we try to run a clean show,
despite what it says. Anyway, time to go.
Take that, Vince. Anyway,
say goodbye, Brian.
Goodbye, Brian.
Thank you. How about you, Full On? You want to say goodbye?
Go big or go home. That's what Giants are for.
That's right.
And let's drop kick him in the nards.
That's a crit for double damage.
That could be a fumble. Who knows? But anyway, I'm DM Glen, and we'll see you next time.
I have a fumble chart where you can kick yourself in the nards.
Ouch. We'll see you next time when I roll up the fumble chart and the hammer comes down on THACO's hammer. Goodbye!
On your nards?
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the Second Edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.